one of the hills in Jerome where the mining town is like really vertical. It's on the north side of the Mingus Mountains. We had just come down from Sedona, which you're kind of looking at out in the distance through the Verde Valley, and this is where the like visitor center kind of museum thing is there on the hill. We did not go in there. I was in there in 2008. It's pretty cool. It's worth the $7 to go in there if you've never been there before. And then up in the background in those hills there, you can see one of the places where the Ghost Hunters, Ghost Adventures guys were at the Jerome Hotel on the ghost hunting television series. And here you can kind of see the mountains and the town of Jerome. If you look, there's a J up in the mountain there. That stands for Jerome. And I think I mentioned here there's snow in those peaks here in a minute.
Snow on the mountains. Yeah. Little clouds coming off of there.
So we spent a good afternoon in Jerome. There's like an artist community up there. Maynard, the guy, lead singer of Tool and A Perfect Circle, owns a store downtown called Pussifer. We stopped by. It was pretty cool. We've got like a wine tasting room, and there's a place called the English Kitchen, which we had barbecue. Pretty good. Cool little town to visit. This next that you're going to see here is San Xavier. It's south of Tucson. It's one of the original missions in the desert there by the San Xavier Indians. It's just really cool, white bleached adobe structures. I've been there before. It's really neat inside. I guess I didn't really get any video inside, but they're restoring this one, and they've just got all kinds of intricate, detailed paintings, and they have all little models of all the saints. It's really neat to check out.
Wow. GoProing?
It's a good shot. Just take it.
Okay.
And here's the little chapel they used to prepare the dead.
When people died back then, they were afraid of germs on the body, which they should have been. And they would often, that's why they'd have these little chapels outside away from the main church.
Okay.
So they could put the bodies in here.
Right.
See, it says mortuarium. That means a place for the dead.
Okay.
Light a candle for your nanny.
Yeah.
We can light one for both Nanny and my mom.
Okay.
You were right. Nice to Xavier.
Yeah.
I go close with the car. I want to get a big shot. I can't get, with my zoom, I can't get that. What are you doing?
Just videoing. This is for posterity's sake.
Posterity's sake?
Yeah.
Well, we can tell people I was here.
Yeah.
So there's my mom.
There's my mom and my Indian fried bread.
Mm-hmm.
So this is Kitts Peak National Observatory. It's like an hour and a half southwest of Tucson, out in the Basin and Range, where you get a big mountain and then you get like 15 miles of prairie kind of valley, and then you get another big mountain range. So this is Indian land. We're in the middle of the Indian reservation here, and they've given perpetual lease to the National Science Foundation to run these observatories. I think there's like 28 of them on top of this mountain. This big structure you're looking at is the solar telescope, so it's basically always monitoring the sun. And you can actually go down around and go down at the bottom of this thing and kind of look around. Or you can go inside this door that's over there and kind of look down through it. Basically goes like 300 feet into the mountain. That's all used, mirrors and stuff, capturing the images of the sun. And when I get out to this point here, you're going to be looking kind of east and north. So I don't know how the detail is on this video, but you can see Tucson kind of off to your right there in front of that big mountain range in the distance, and this little thing in the middle. You might be able to see Chacho Peak, which is what you pass on the interstate when you're heading down between Phoenix and Tucson. It's kind of right, just out of frame right now on the right side. That's all the support equipment there. Those tanks for the installation. They have dorms up there. People, they do a bunch of signs that say, day sleepers, be quiet, kind of thing. Because a lot of the work they do is at night, and they house a couple dozen scientists from all the different universities and science organizations that run up here. I think there's 26 optical telescopes and 2 radio telescopes up here. So inside that door there, you can just kind of stick in there. We don't go in video. We just kind of go in.
I imagine things can get fairly gnarly up here. It's either windy or they do get some kind of storms.
Yeah, I think I'm just commenting that it gets kind of gnarly up there in the wind. I can't imagine being in like a really hot storm or some kind of. They do get thunderstorms and stuff like that at certain points of the year, so it would be pretty tricky to be up there. That knob in the distance is some kind of like sacred Indian mountain. I forget the name of it. And that's looking kind of southwest. And this mountain, St. Kitts, it's about 7,000 feet above sea level, which is about 5,000 feet up off the bottom of the valley there. I think the valley's like 2,000 feet elevation. So it's a good 15-minute drive up this mountain. If you hear us breathing heavy, it's because the elevation really was presenting itself. We had to take it easy walking up and down all these. It looks kind of flat. There's actually a bunch of hills to and from these observatories. Yeah, there's a big sign we got a picture of. There's about a dozen different universities from across the country that run installations up on top of this mountain. And the biggest one, I think, is a 4-meter telescope.
So there's a radio telescope down there. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and there's a radio telescope in the view there.
They haven't even gotten to the entrance yet. You're giving them longer than an hour.
station there. I think this square building here used to be like a public observatory. They do run night programs, and I don't know if they still do, but the side of the building there, it said something about a public observatory. But it's all washed out. And that big one in the distance there, I think, is the big 4.1 meter telescope. I think it's the biggest one they have up there. Like I said, they're basically an hour and a half away from Tucson, so they're trying to get away from all the light pollution. And one of the bigger ones uses like a laser to kind of quell the oscillation in the atmosphere, keep things on target. It's pretty interesting stuff. The day we're out there, it's about 70, 80 degrees. It's February, a little windy, really dry. Just enough to walk around with a t-shirt, maybe a light jacket. I think the next day, on Friday, it got to be like 90-some degrees down in Green Valley where my mom lives. Kind of out of character for this time of year. It's usually in the 60s and 70s, I guess.
Hi. Again.
I think this is a 2.1 meter telescope, which I believe we actually go in. This is actually quite the hill. We had to stop like 2-3 times to get in there, catch our breath. Again, I guess a lot of these buildings they started building in the 60s. Late 50s, I guess, when they first got up there. And I believe this one was built in the 70s or 80s. And here you can kind of catch a glimpse of the inside. That thing rotates around, and then the doors slide open, and it's basically all mirrors trying to capture all the light and concentrate it into one focal point. I believe this is the one that uses the laser technology to keep the oscillation out of the atmosphere.
That's all that's out here is mines, and that one facility out there looks like a farm. A small community, maybe. 2 water towers. I have no idea where that is.
This is looking directly
Everything else
west.
is wide open Indian country. Probably never be developed. There's a little town way, way, way out there. That could be south.
North. So this is Tumacacori mission. It's in southern Arizona, south of Green Valley and Sahuarita. This is an older mission that predates the San Xavier one. I guess these people that started this mission actually then migrated north and started the San Xavier one. So this was abandoned for a lot of years, and they're not restoring it. They're just kind of keeping it, not pristine, but they're protecting it to make sure it stays in its natural state. They put a roof over top of it. Basically, it was never quite finished. So the big bell tower on the right, even though it looks like a ruin, it's just not finished. And it's kind of cool. In the visitor center, they have a drawing that was taken out of a diary of a explorer back in the 1840s that pretty much drew it, and you can see as it was back then.
And that roof is all new, that was there to protect it, you know.
You can read the plaque here. It kind of gives a quick description of what's going on, and then on the left side you'll see a artist rendering of what it may have looked like back in the day. I guess if you Google San Xavier, you can kind of maybe see the difference between how plain this one looks and how fancy the San Xavier looks.
And the one time we were here at Christmas, wasn't this year, but last year, just as we were standing here singing, the whole room came up and went right into that window.
Oh, wow.
It was so cool. And this was where the nuns lived down here.
So this is like a full functioning mission back in the day. So this would have been the cemetery, probably the mortuary there. So there's this big courtyard. There's another big courtyard. On the other side of this wall is like a storage room, which was really interesting, where they kept all their dry storage. There was another ruin of where the nuns lived, and another one where the priests lived. And then in the back, we actually walked back. There's the creek runs out of Mexico, runs north through this property, and there's an orchard and garden area and just all sorts of things. This would have been like an oasis in the desert kind of situation. And this whole property is run by the Forest Service, so there's a small fee to get in and check this out, but it's not too expensive. Like I said, a lot of this hasn't been restored, so these walls, doors, everything, over 100 years old.